Okay, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this live session to close our capstone challenge. We're going to have 5 presentations. 2 of the 5 cannot be with us, unfortunately, but we have 3 ladies, so it's an all-lady panel this afternoon for France. And I'm happy to welcome you all, and looking forward to listen to your presentations and to share your insights from this journey that you've gone through with the Savoir Relier specialization. I look forward to interacting with you and also to take questions from the audience. Of course, giving the floor first to the presentations. I think we're going to start with BlaBlaCar. Andrew could not be with us. I think he had a personal problem. So we're going to project a video, if I understand correctly, that HEC is going to put on for us to watch what Andrew came up with the BlaBlaCar challenge. Diana, can you post the video of Andrew?
Unfortunately, I couldn't be present today because I'm in the hospital, but I wanted to give you guys what were the main ideas behind my project. To put things into perspective, BlaBlaCar is a car-moving company. And for the most part, they're growing so fast and so far away that it really puts their culture at risk. That is, they're going to go into new countries where new values are operating, and they somehow have to remain true to who they are while also adapting to the new environment that they're setting. And also, at the same time, anybody with an internet connection could become a competitor for BlaBlaCar. So really, the brand and this essence of sharing a fun ride, a trustful ride, is what makes it unique. So my actions will mostly take place on those 2 aspects. Let's go to them. Now, with that in mind, I came up with 3 proposals that could have BlaBlaCar in their journey. The first one has to do with their values, and it's mostly about creating a structure that allows them to remain true to their core values, while also leaving room to be flexible to their new environments. Now, the second one has to do with sustainability. The idea here is that while the experience may be great in BlaBlaCar, it would be meaningless if it would do harm to the environment. And BlaBlaCar already does a good job in that regard. It just doesn't fully raise a flag for its efforts. Now, and finally, the last topic is about road safety. The idea here is that safety is in many ways a result of trust. And not being safe, not raising a flag for road safety could harm the idea that BlaBlaCar is all about, trust. Now, to close it all up, I wanted to talk a bit about my experience with Savoir Relier. And it really, for me personally, I feel that it is a leadership style based around authenticity, sincereness, and about balancing the rational and emotional side of your brain. Now, what this creates is essentially you bring the best out of yourself and you start doing the same with other people around you, not society at all. Now, we can all relate to bad leadership experience that we had. And ultimately, throughout history, it was our leaders that conducted us to where we are today. And Savoir Relier is in many ways a force to make the world a better place. So, if you're interested in this specialization, I highly recommend you to follow this path. Goodbye. Hi, everyone.
Okay. So this was for BlaBlaCar. We didn't hear very well. I don't know about everybody else. I couldn't hear very well either. So I suggest that we carry on with the presentations and then we do a discussion about the different insights that we received from everyone. Is that okay? So the second one should be Emilia. Emilia, if you're ready.
Good afternoon. My name is Emilia Lengel, and I'm an expat living in the Netherlands for more than 10 years, former consultant and university lecturer. Today I'm addressing the challenge of Orange Company. The company, Orange Company, it's a global leader in corporate telecommunications services and one of the largest operators of mobile and internet services in Europe and Africa. The main owners of the company are the French state and Banque Publique d'Investissement. France being also the main generator of revenue for the company. Given the internal and external challenges the company was facing mainly since 2010, their goal is to identify what needs to be rephrased in terms of strategy and structure for the company to be able to better provide every customer with a unique experience by offering the digital service that allows customers to enjoy securely what is essential to them. From my perspective, on short term, the company requires first radical changes in key leadership positions, better contractual services, better contractual conditions for the employees, the implementation of a coaching networking system promoting learning through exchange and development at all organizational levels, a system which is used also in companies as Shell. In addition, the company should offer to the external market improved packages destined to customers with medium revenues, of course, tailored to each market. In addition, I would suggest for them to create strategic alliances with leading innovative companies and device producers in order to be able to offer video call services through new communication platforms, for instance, by using an Orange application. And another suggestion would be for them to develop strategic cooperations with NGOs and international organizations to enable those companies, those organizations to communicate with specific market segments. On long term, practically the organization needs to become a learning organization able to gain the strength to grow organically. This can be achieved by initiating a dynamic process of generating the evolution of cultural and collective intelligence as well as organizational evolution. The outcome will be a flexible system capable of adapting to the environmental evolutions, which are extremely fast happening, and displaying an intelligent behavior within the context of a complex setting. A system which will be capable to effectively implement the organization mission and objectives and of conducting problem solving in a collective process of creation, which is crucial, especially for their market segment. We should never forget the fact that the human being, it's an intelligent and a very dynamic system with unimaginable capabilities, and the management of the New World Organization has to be focused on building organizational systems that generate collective intelligence and continuously facilitate coevolution and innovation among their employees. This, in turn, will enable the organization to recreate themselves and positively contribute to the organizational growth. The result will be the creation of the new organizational form through cooperation and co-participation of those directly affected. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emilia. So we're moving on with Pat. Pat, are you ready?
Hold on. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Hello, bonjour. My name is Pat Tiger. And I signed up actually up for the Leading with Sense course because its title really made me curious. It's different than what you otherwise hear. For my capstone, I chose Poland, of course. I'm a bread-loving German living in the US, and if you have been in the US, you know it's difficult to find good breads. Let me try whether I can move over to the screen share. Let's see whether that works. Can you see the...
We have a dark screen. Yes, we see the slide. Yeah.
Wonderful. So I just want to give you a brief introduction. Poland is a Paris-based bakery, home of the Poland bread. And Poland has local bakeries, mainly in Paris, but also in London and Wainegem, and a bread manufacturer that basically serves customers worldwide. Poland has a long-standing tradition of making bread of highest quality, still using the original bread recipe, and they see bread baking as an art, and becoming a Poland baker takes years of mastery, so they take a lot of pride in their craft. For me, the Poland challenge, oops, I should have done that. For me, the Poland challenge became then, how can the Poland business expand internationally while keeping its culture with strong tradition and values alive? One doesn't have to give up the traditions and values to expand into other countries and cultures. Lionel Poland already created the term rich renovation, which means to combine the best of the old with the best of the new. And I actually ended up applying this also in the challenge. For me, the best of the old are the original recipe, the baking equipment and process, and the long-time employees who are Poland and live the culture. The best of the new are, wherever you go, in the challenge I chose Boston, the local ingredients and local people. Now, how do you get both of it together? My suggestion or recommendation is to combine both through a rotation program. The long-time employees, especially the bakers and store managers, work and live the Poland culture at the new location, and promising local people may go to France for further immersion into the Poland culture and growing into it. The typical Poland taste may not be achieved, but do we really have to? The taste created will be special to the region and special for Poland. For me, the key takeaway from this course was no right or wrong. Having an engineering background, working in regulatory affairs, I'm used to equations, regulations, and procedures. So everything is pretty much straightforward. And to some extent, that is real easy. Most assignments in this course, I asked myself, what exactly am I supposed to do? And I ended up completing the assignment, following my intuition, wondering whether this was what was asked for.
Yeah.
In the evaluation of my peers, I saw a whole variety of possibilities, and I'm like, okay, what did they actually ask for? And it took a while, but eventually I realized there's no right or wrong way. There are many paths that will get you where you want to go. Just get started, be genuine, generous, generative, and through the relational circuit, you will continually reevaluate the progress and make adjustments. And even if you realize you're on the wrong path, you can adjust and you still get where you want to be. The relational circuit takes practice, but the more I've used it, the easier it gets, and slowly it is becoming like second nature. So I have taken a lot away from this course. And if I can get back to my picture, that would be really awesome.
Yeah, we want to see you, Pat.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I can get now out of this PowerPoint and back to where we are. Hold on.
Finish the PowerPoint and then...
Yeah, I am. I think. Hold on, share. I think I need to click this.
Yeah, you're back.
Thank you, Valerie. I really enjoyed the class. I was at one point of time actually almost ready to drop out because I was traveling, and my homework got rejected, and it was painful getting back on track, but my peers helped me. And I'm really very grateful for the whole experience.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you very much. Thank you. Annika, you're next, and then we'll get back to the discussion.
Okay, so I've been unmuted. That's very fine.
Yeah.
Let me just give you a little bit of the brief of the context. So as I said in my presentation, I work in the humanitarian and development sector for 20 years. And since September, I've been in Mauritania working for Action Against Hunger, which is a global humanitarian organization that takes decisive action against the causes and effects of hunger. We, as an international network, save lives of malnourished children. We ensure that everyone has access to clean water, food, training, and healthcare. We enable communities to be free from hunger. So we have an extremely inspiring mission. So within this mission, my challenge was, how do I use my skills, my competencies, my emotional intelligence, and whatever I've been through to be the generative technical coordinator in the Action Against Hunger, to nurture and lead my team of inspired individuals, of very competent people who are acting based on our core humanitarian values, to deliver high quality aid and to actually make this impact on the wider society, to help end hunger and to make our communities in Mauritania more prosperous. So it's a very inspiring thing, and I have traced in my presentation a roadmap, which I find that now is reasonably well on track. So for me, the takeaways, the main learning points, which I would like to start from. First of all, it's been amazing knowing this community and being among the people who are so supportive, and learning a lot of things that I didn't know, putting in place the knowledge that I had. And of course, one of the key takeaways, I made friends. So Pat and I have met at the beginning of the course, and we stayed connected throughout, and we actually became very good friends like this. So hopefully we can meet in real life at some point. For me also, understanding myself was the key point, to put myself in place and to understand what makes me what I am and how I can be very authentic and use that to inspire others. No right or wrong was also a huge takeaway for me. And I had similar challenges to those explained by Pat, and we often discussed, oh, what are we supposed to do? What do we do now? And then we just followed their instinct, and it was right. It kind of felt, it clicked at some point. So that was amazing. Exchange with others, that also helped me put things into perspective. So I also became better in recognizing the motivation of others and recognizing the feelings of others and what I need to do to help them grow and be authentic as leaders. And also it put me on the path of the transformational leadership. I am more mature, aware, I'm more humble, and I'm far less afraid of mistakes than I was before. Of course, I mean, there's a lot of frustrations that happen in everyday work. There's overwhelming amount of things to do sometimes. But for me, the difference is that I'm actually aware of how I feel and what my reactions are. So I'm able to transform that frustration into growth, into action, into something that is positive, and not just kind of fly off the handle or whatever. So it gives me a lot more self-control. I have definitely sharpened my instincts and my gut feeling, so I trust it a lot more. And I've become better at managing my managers, getting those expectations and making sure that, you know, it goes upwards as well as downwards and horizontal. And the relational circuit definitely was a bit of a challenge at the beginning, but it gave me this excellent structure in the search for solutions when you deconstruct things and then you kind of reconstruct them and you make sense out of that. So for me, the way that I approach the development of the technical department as the generative team, the first thing was that I actually invested in the trust, because I was a new person coming into the dynamic. So this aspect of trust, the bonding between, has been one of the key stepping points. So now in the past 4 months, we have actually grown, and now even when the challenges are there and things happen that were not planned, there's a lot more ease in how we overcome them and how we manage to put this kind of platform for discussion where ideas are welcome, and where we can discuss even the most difficult issues with something positive in mind. We do need time for innovation, so there's a lot of time constraints, there's a lot of changes that we need to overcome, but I mean, I feel very confident that our team can do it. For me, it was also to continue my personal development, so I did what I said I would do. I'm doing my online studies, so I'm moving ahead with that. The trust is there, and I work also as a part of the team, so I get my hands dirty, which is something that I really like to do. So we're there, and this energy is flying everywhere, so that's really super motivating. And developing synergies with other departments, and with our mission, we're also making this broader impact on the society, and we get to contribute also to whatever happens within the network. So for me, my personal challenge objectives are very much on track. We're all influential in our different fields. So it's definitely come together for me, and with this big community and exchange, it's been a huge challenge because I was doing it like in the evenings and with all the Guinea and Ebola and all the rest of it, and also with lots of challenges that I had in my previous post. But the reflection helped me hugely to overcome certain things, and actually I find myself growing. So thank you for that amazing experience.
Thank you, Annika. Thank you for sharing and for all those great stories and experience that you shared with us. We have a fifth representative from the class, I mean, from the whole Savoir-Relier community, who could not be with us this evening. I'm not sure if we have the video of Sumer Malik. Do we, or do we not? Because it would be very nice to hear. He's in Pakistan, and he is used and applied the Savoir-Relier and the CAPSTONE to work on a very, very interesting challenge in Pakistan. It would be really nice to hear him, and I would not want to, no, we don't have the video. Okay, well, that's really too bad. I will say just a few words about why Sumer was part of this this group of 5. I was very, for me, it was very important in reading and watching all of your videos, looking at the impact and looking at the tangible impact, so that it's not just talk, it's not just an exercise, or it's not just, you know, intellectually thinking or practicing concepts, but I really wanted this experience to have an impact. And his experience was very in the same line as Annika was telling, with a sense of mission, with a sense of delivery, and he actually managed to save a number of lives with a healthcare structure that he put in place, bringing doctors together and helping them to bond, to achieve a more effective, life-saving environment around this city. I'm explaining it very badly, but just to say that this notion of impact was very important, and gets me to the point of, in this first experience of capstones, we had, and you had, this option of having a corporate challenge or a personal challenge. And after reviewing hundreds of texts and videos that have been written by candidates and learners who have been online doing this work, it appears as a striking thing now that the personal challenge seems to be more impactful in the sense that it impacts you directly, you personally, and the society around you. Therefore, we have found, and I'm saying we because I've worked with colleagues and shared some of this work with my colleagues, that the purpose of Savoir Relier in this context of the specialization is more effective when we're dealing with personal challenges than when we're dealing with corporate challenges. Now, once I've said that, I want to go back to the corporate challenges because Emilia, Pat, and Andrew as well, who's not with us, but in the work that you showed that is also representative of other participants' work that were also very good. And by the way, it was very, very hard to select because the quality of the work and some of the ideas were really great. So I'm not putting aside or away the work that was done in the corporate challenges. Again, I'm just saying that having a personal impact made it somehow more insightful. Now, for the corporate challenges, I'm going to go backward and start with Pat. Your approach to Poilâne, Pat, was, and I've actually had a slight talk with Apollonia about it. Was very interesting because it's both respecting the tradition of Pain Poilâne and integrating it in a new environment. And I want to share something that you mentioned in talking about the relational circuit that is actually very important and that may not be so striking when you're doing the courses as you are, step by step. The initial work of the relational circuit is on its capacity, to translate a poem from one language to another. And if I take the Poilâne example, you're taking the original Poilâne bread, and then you're transporting it into the Boston environment, and you're trying to recreate the value of this bread in a new environment, just like you're taking a poem in English or in American poetry, and you want to translate it into French poetry. So you're from an environment, and then you're transporting this incredible wealth of and breadth of tradition, of way of doing things. But because it's in a new environment, well, you have to make some choices, and you have to maybe change a few things. And it's a very important question in making decisions and in impacting your surroundings, in how you're capable of taking something that exists and almost transcend it. The decentering movement where you project into something new and you recreate a new sense that still has the value of the original, but is integrated in a new ecosystem, in a new environment. That's what the relational circuit is doing. And I would like to comment on one point that both Pat and Anika mentioned about the relational circuit, is that it takes time, and that you were confused as you were going, that you didn't know what to do. And I shouldn't say that it's on purpose, but I would like to say that it's a little bit on purpose to get you a little bit lost.
I was wondering, I was very lost at some times. But if you don't give up and you start keeping going, eventually suddenly it clicks, and then it comes. And the more you do it, the more you kind of, it gets normal for you. It's amazing.
Yeah. Anika is saying it's a journey. Yes, it's a journey, and it's true that it's a journey, and it's recognizing that we live in uncertainty by nature. So taking that into account and accepting that we don't know, that there's so many things we don't know. And I like to say, the more you know that you don't know. So accepting this and embracing this is a way of accepting this uncertainty and working with it. So accepting that the rational mind will not solve all the problems, but you need the rational mind. It's not exclusive. You need both. And in that process, what you're showing in pursuing with it, you're showing determination. You're showing your willingness to go ahead with it. And if you don't have determination in life, you're not going to get anywhere. So it's also part of this constant, trying and doing, and entrepreneurs know that perfectly well, because that's the only way you can grow an organization is this. And when you address a problem, you will never find a solution. It's avenues that will get you there and get you away and get you back in. So you have to constantly go back and rethink and rework. And again, the bottom line in this is the questioning part. Your capacity to raise those questions, including about yourself, to accept that you are in doubt. And doubt is something difficult, but it's something that you open up to, that you are capable of integrating and opening and then challenging yourself. So it is this process that I think you have very well demonstrated in your work and in your studies and in your final presentations for each company. Emilia in the same way for Orange. And in our discussion, we start having questions from people who are watching us and who are questioning about the impact, for example, for Orange. And you answered, Emilia. Maybe I'll give you the floor on this one, about the looking at the customer experience that should be a unique customer experience, and they're saying uncompared. And then, yes, but what about the history of Orange that was France Telecom and with all the issues with people, and how does that affect them? And all those questions are, of course, part of the history and how you have to deal with it. So, Emilia, if you want to share a few words about how you came to grips with these questions also in dealing with the challenge, so that you can talk about this human dimension that you also addressed in your feedback.
Yes, thank you very much. I've been reading with very much interest the questions addressed, and what I want to highlight is first the fact that Orange Company, it's a huge, it's a multinational company, and through the fact that it's partially owned by the French state, the dynamic of the organization itself has also an impact in terms of every single change which needs to be implemented. Everything will take a longer time than in a normal organization, or smaller or medium-sized company. And that's why first I have addressed the radical changes which need to be taken from the key leadership positions, because due to the company structure and the cultural management of the company itself, the communication lines will have a positive impact if the changes are implemented from the very top. As far as I recall, in France, the communication lines are coming from the top down, and this is one of the aspects which has first to be addressed, especially that the company has approximately 94,000 employees only in France. Furthermore, inevitably, through an audit, the company needs to identify which are the problems causing so many loss of human lives, and give to the employees the opportunity to have first a different environment which promotes learning, and also better contractual services.
Yeah. This is exactly the.
It's very complex.
Yeah, it's the one point also that was brought by Annika, the question of managing up and managing down, which is very, very key, and managing horizontally. It's not like in organizations that still operate vertically.
Yes.
We know that in the future it's not going to be possible. We know that the future of an organization is a relational organization. It's an organization that understands that, yes, the leadership and the top management needs to onboard some of those mechanisms or ways of interacting that are different. But when you are at any level, you need to work on the managing up as well as the managing down. And at every level, it's true. Even if you're the CEO of an organization, you have a board you have to respond to. So the responsibility is all the ways. It's not just up, not just down. It's every direction. That's why the relational organization is the way to go in developing the future of organizations. And I really think that in the work that you've done, all of you, this has appeared as a very strong feature of growth and development for companies, NGOs, you name it, because the very bottom line of organizations is the people. And to get the people to produce, to be generative, to create the value and the performance that is needed in organizations large and small, you need to build those solid interactions that you've worked on and that you've grown. But it's work. It's really hard work. It's constant. Annika, you mentioned a journey of perseverance. Yes, it's exactly the word. You have to pursue and to persevere in what you do, because it's never given. I like to take the example of a friendship. When you have a friend, and apparently we have two, Pat and Annika, who've made become friends through this experience, which is very nice. And I'm sure there are other examples of this, which is for me very, very touching, also very moving. The fact that you build relationships on the side of being a peer reviewer or whatnot. So this is very important. And when you have a friendship, it is something that you have to constantly stimulate. It's even if it's there and it's there for life and it happened, it's still something that you have to carry on with. It's not a given. Nothing is a given, including with family. Actually, it's really something that you have to stimulate and pursue. So the building of those relationships, be it in business or in life, is a kind of work that should not be a negative work, but a work of growth and mind opening, because it actually brings life into you when you're capable of opening up and creating those interactions. Sometimes they're difficult, sometimes they're easy, sometimes whatever they are, they nurture you and they make you grow. And I think that's the point. I really would like to hear Annika a little bit more on this point, because you made a few comments.
There was actually a question regarding the way that our world is changing and the need to kind of stick to some principles, the issue of rights-based, the issue of how we remain ethical in what we do and how we do things, and our purpose is extremely acute in the humanitarian sector, especially. There's a lot of coming together between the organizations. There's also the so-called CHS Alliance. So that's the alliance that promotes the core humanitarian standards. So some of the things that actually link us in terms of the humanitarian community worldwide, what are the things that we do, how we do it, and examining our own purpose. So that's something that we also adopt. And Action Against Hunger has also a very broad and very focused vision on all things related to eradicating the hunger, but also addressing all the underlying causes. And for that, we have to be open-minded. We have to travel that journey. We have to be able to manage huge challenges, because the donor environment is changing. So our, if I can call it that, business model has to adapt, and a lot of different organizations have adapted in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of discussion about public-private partnerships. That means that there's certain shifts that need to be taken, and for that, if we think through the relational circuit, we can kind of step back and then step outside the classical charity approach and be ready to embrace new technologies. This uncertainty of funding, it's something that we're struggling with right now. So we have our ideas, we have the idea of how much these things will cost, how much resources we need to be able to impact that number of population, but the donors also have limited amounts of money, so we have to juggle all these expectations and restrictions. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to take in, and that's how our journey is moving ahead.
Yeah.
But it's really, the uncertainty is definitely there. I mean,
Yes.
this is what's happening globally, and
Yeah.
if we don't stay true to ourselves and ethical, and if we look at the rights and we stand for some principles, there's very little left. So there's this feeling that there's this kind of coming together around these things.
Yeah. And we need so much of that. The comment that was made by one of the persons who's connected right now and addressing a larger picture of what's going on in the world right now, and all the questions about the values, our core values, democracy, and so on, that are really challenged. And we collectively have a responsibility to act, and whatever the level where we're acting, but starting with consciousness, awareness of what's going on, and being able to question and to confront, and then bringing those that energy and those values that you've proved to be very, very effective in your approach and in your work. This is really something that we have a responsibility to take on. That's for sure. Yes, yes. Time is flying, unfortunately. We have about 10 minutes left, and I really would like to, moving forward as always, because again, we're in a movement that constantly moves forward. What would be your few words of sharing, or I don't like to say conclusion, but let's say opening up rather than concluding, that we would like to share, and we'll start with you, Annika, since you're online, with the people who are watching, and taking this onward and forward.
It's being just, leadership comes in all forms and all shapes from all levels. So you don't have to be a big CEO to be the leader for yourself and for your family and for your community and for whichever entity or organization you're in. So for me, the takeaway that I could recommend to everyone and conclude, just be authentic, be yourself, challenge yourself, and make sure that you are the best that you can be, and that you develop others to be the best that can be, either in your family or in your company or around in the neighborhood, or doing something for a cause that you believe in. I think that's something that really drives us forward. So that would be my sharing with others.
Thank you very much. Emilia. Your microphone is not on. You need to turn it on. Yes, you're on.
Working. Thank you. Myself, I have gained the strength to remain focused on rebuilding myself, as due to the challenges of being an expert, and also to remain focused on the organizational goal and on the sense of purpose towards personal and professional development.
Okay, thank you, Emilia. Pat?
My pleasure.
Hello?
Yeah.
Am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Okay. From my perspective, I just go back to there's no right or wrong. If you self-doubt, if you don't know what to do, just let your intuition go to get started. And then through the relational circuit, you will continue to move. You don't stop. It's sometimes not easy, and sometimes one feels like, okay, I don't know where to go from here. But it settles in, and as you look at the situation and you build where you want to go, it will always move you on and will help you on. I'm not sure whether one really can get stuck by using this approach and be completely lost, because somehow there's always somewhere something that opens up and suddenly you're moving again. And by looking at the situations and building your picture where you're at and where you wanna go, you move. So don't give up. The whole course might be sometimes a little bit complicated and you feel lost, I definitely felt lost more than more often than not. But in the end, it seems to be all falling together, and it starts making sense. I chose the corporate challenge because I was not ready to start on that personal challenge that I have. But so for me, it was almost a platform to jump off, and I feel much better now working on my personal challenge than I would have been going into it right from the beginning.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Pat. And now I have another round of, I would like for each of you to ask me a question. Any question. Think of a question you may have about anything. And by the way, while you're thinking about your question, each of you, I know many of you have been watching and have questions that I wanted to really give this platform to be an opportunity for you to speak. So and not for me to speak so much, because in the previous live sessions I was the one doing all the talking, and you may start knowing that it seems like I like to do all the talking, but no, I like to listen. So I'm happy to listen to you, and so just to let you know that for all the questions that we were not able to answer, my suggestion is that you post them on Facebook, and you can keep on the discussion on the Facebook group, so you can keep on interacting that way, because the Facebook is public and it's dedicated to you. It's a platform for you, and it's really free for you to keep on interacting. So your questions. Annika, you're on.
I'm on. Oh, I'm being put on the spot. How does it feel for you? I mean, your personal experience and how this new kind of way of teaching globally, how does that feel? How does that affect you? What does that do to your teaching sense? And
okay, that's a good question. Starting from the beginning, when I was asked by HEC Paris and Coursera to do what I'm doing normally in sessions, to do it online, I even though I do believe in digital learning, I didn't think it would be possible. I didn't think it would work. I didn't think that the conversation, the self-portrait and all that process would work only online. And then what's happened is, when I read the testimonies that I read on the platform of just achievements that people are just talking about without even being asked, it's just spontaneous talk. I'm moved. I'm deeply moved, and sometimes I'm moved to a point that it's almost scary because of the impact it has, which makes me rethink forward and think about offering an overall platform, maybe even an app that would allow this to thrive and exist. So this is my thinking right now. It's been an overwhelming experience, I must say. The statistics are incredible. There are more than 60,000 active learners on the course right now in the different groups, and so it's really overwhelming. So it has helped me rethink some of my work. And I'm really moved by the type of interaction that we're having and the feedback that I'm seeing, and I'm again puzzled, overwhelmed, wanting to do more, and thinking about what would be the best medium to carry on with this beyond the course. So that's next step. Thank you for asking. Emilia, you have a question?
Somehow I think you've answered. What I was thinking earlier was, how do you feel, and which is the impact of so many challenges you encounter from the students? It's a bit more deeper as layer.
Yeah, the impact is as I said, being overwhelmed and wanting to do more, and then doing the analytical part of all this. It means, as a consequence, that I have to structure myself. I have to. Savoir Relier is a one-person organization. I work with interns to help me on keeping contact and supporting and answering questions when there's a problem with the platform, for example, which is happening every now and then. But it's a one-person organization, so I need to think about how to structure this, and at the same time, I do not want to recreate a big business. I've been there. I've had a team of 40 people. I've run that for 8 years. It's not what I want to do. So I want. It's like your experience, It's you talk about a relational circuit, instinct, uncertainty, and then it's working. So I would like to find a way to use this process and make it live of its own. And so again, I don't know yet, but it's definitely maturing in my thoughts and in the people I meet and interactions that I can have to try and structure something to make this a more open and wider and at the same time a business is not the right word, but for this to happen, I need to get funds for the development, for the maintenance of the platform, for the sustainability of the project, and so on. It's not, you don't live out of flowers and just the air. So I have to structure this as a business, and this is the more difficult part for me, probably. But I'm working on it, and I promise I will do everything that I can to make this happen. So we'll see. Stay tuned. And Pat, what is your question?
My question is, so you're teaching the course live at HEC.
Yeah.
And you have this online course now. The experiences that you have from the online course, how have they influenced the HEC live course? Have there been some influences back and forth?
Yeah, it's a very good question. The one first thing is that the course was published. The first MOOC was published in September 2015 or 16. Francis, you can correct me. A year ago, a year and a half ago, let's say. It wasn't. Yeah, we're in 17, so 2015. And the following certificate, I had the participants of the certificate do the first MOOC before they started the course. And that in itself has changed completely the impact of the class, because they were much faster into the process, much more efficient. And as teams, they really started bonding and interacting much more effectively, more quickly, and then, which means we could do more and we could go further. So the combination of like kind of blended learning, the MOOC, and then carrying on with the certificate has been a first impact that has changed. Also, we did the live sessions in last April, and we are going to have again interactions with the next capstone learners during the next certificate. So Pat, for example, for you did the capstone in the fall, and there was no certificate, so you could not interact with live students. Milia, you did it during the spring, and then you had a chance to interact with some of the students. So that's something that I have also integrated with the students, that has brought to light the fact that they were so, to some extent, privileged to be doing it for 6 weeks full-time together, and so aware that they had a kind of engagement to have to share and to spread. And so we had some discussions about, very similar to the previous comment that I made, how to spread this, the cascading, the scaling, the continuing, because it's a process and it's an infinite process. I always have in mind one of the comments of a learner who was 71 years old and who said that he's done all the leadership programs he could put his hands on all over his life, and now he's 71 and he just did this and he still learned a lot. So it's for me, it really is a great sign and comment about the fact that it is an endless process. So if you want to make it endless, then you have to build a structure that makes it possible for you to sustainably grow and carry on with this. That's why I'm really thinking about this as a community, as a self-serving community, as a self-growing community, But as I say in my courses, and I really very strongly believe, and it's also true of poetry, you need also structure. Only freedom does not work. You need structure and freedom. So I need to find the structure that will allow this freedom to thrive and to make this continue. So any suggestions, any comments, I always say, please post them. And if I'm not very present on the Facebook page, I read and watch everything. So I'm there, and sometimes I will intervene. I don't feel it's my job to be present and interact all the time on the Facebook page at this stage. Maybe there will be a blog later. Maybe there'll be a platform where this will happen in a different way. But please keep in touch and keep posting and interacting and sharing, because this is really the wealth of the whole thing, is to give you this platform for you to keep on sharing online and offline. And if you two could meet, that would be great. Tell us your story, Pat and Anika, if at some point you manage to. That would be great. I was in Senegal, just came back this morning from Senegal. So Anika, you're in Mauritania and you're in Africa.
You're in my neighborhood.
Yeah, I wasn't too far. I was in Dakar and Saint-Louis for a few days.
Oh, super.
Yeah, I was doing the graduation ceremony of Institut Supérieur du Management in Dakar, and it was a 25th anniversary of that school that keeps on growing, and I've been working with for about 20 years. So it was a great moment.
Excellent.
So, well, I'm sorry we have to close now, and I want again to thank you for your participation, for your presence, for your feedback, and for all the sharing that you gave. And we'll stay in touch. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It was great.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Congratulations.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.